Thanks to everyone who supported us over at patreon.com/boards and swords. Check it out if you want additional content like our bonus bits, the pre-show and post-show stuff. It's May 23rd, and it's time for Boards and Swords!
Woo!
That's right, everyone. Welcome to Boards and Swords. This is a podcast where we have bad jokes, good folks, and again, gonna have some gaming talk again on this one. I really should change that line in the show notes because I still have the other one in there. But I'm one of your hosts. My name's Chris Renshaw. I'm gonna toss it over to my co-host, Mr. Philip Herbig.
What's going on, everybody?
What's going on is I'm in my seat. My belly is full. I had some games today. Life is good. You win some, you lose some today, but you know.
Yeah, that's how that works, yeah.
But let us start off the show the way we usually do and talk about some news. All right, we got a couple of news stories here. First one, if it wasn't for Philip, I wouldn't have put this in the news. But in Soviet Russia, Munchkin play you.
Ha
Steve Jackson Games will release Munchkin Russia, a new card game based on Munchkin, into retail in September. This new Munchkin, developed by Pavel Ilin and Dmitry Molden, delves into the myths and monsters of Russian folklore. Players can fight monsters like a troll factory, KG birds, Rasputin, or even a hangover with their Russian wolfhound and Balalaika in Chol. Babaleka. I don't know. New character classes in this edition include a hacker, an oligarch, an athlete, and a Cossack.
Yep.
The whimsical artwork for this game was provided by Sergey Dolin. First of all, it feels like it's like you're hitting the bottom of the well if we're talking about... But so I was like, this is kind of random and weird. And because I also like thinking like, is it really like, why? I mean, it felt like when I first saw the headline, I was like, are we just like making fun of Russia to make fun of Russia because it's the only thing we can make fun of and not be called racist? But now that I see like there are at least some Russian sounding names in the developers, I think it's probably more of like these people made up one about their own country and pitched it to Steve Jackson Games, and they were like, that looks good.
Yeah, I mean, like let's play on some of the cultural stereotypes and make a game about them that people can laugh at.
But the difference being, when people doing it to themselves, you can get even more so like, you know, if we just did a stereotypical Russia thing, there's some of these things that I wouldn't have even known about, but I like the monsters and myths of Russian folklore bit that's in there, meaning that's something that really only like people that know a lot about Russia can do, and it's not just we're making. Why is someone knocking at my door? Hang on.
All right, someone's knocking on Chris's door. If we hear any blood-curdling screams come through the audio, welcome to the Philip Show. Hey.
So apparently the wife's out back and cut her or nicked herself.
Oh.
And needed access to the bathroom and the first aid stuff. But I was like, the door just back here knocked. I'm like, no one's supposed to be here. Felt like Mr. Rogers for a little bit. Who could that be? Anyways. So next item we have, this is something you were talking about.
I was, because I went through and I read the article.
Yeah. So
and Okay, go ahead.
So our next story is definitely it puts the gotta in the gotta catch 'em all, and that is mass merchants are pulling Pokemon TCG and sports cards off the shelf as of May 14th. Like Target in particular, and Walmart had already been kind of phasing them out. But Walmart and Target stores have removed Pokemon TCG and sports cards products from their shelves, apparently in unison. And although there's been like some Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh stuff still available, but Walmart did not display signage, but some stores had posted signs alerting merchandisers not to stock any sports card or Pokemon TCG products due to inappropriate customer behavior and increased demand. This is kind of what you were talking about.
Well, yeah, so like you drop down to that fourth paragraph.
Yeah, an incident in Wisconsin last Friday may have helped convince the chain to make the move. A 35-year-old man was being assaulted by 4 men ages 23 to 35 in a Target parking lot in Brookfield, Wisconsin, in a dispute over trading cards when he pulled a gun for which he had a concealed carry permit and scared them off, according to a report by local affiliate, ABC affiliate. Yeah, it is. The Pokemon stuff is crazy, and it's really weird.
You dumb asses almost got shot. Okay?
Yeah.
Over thick paper.
Yeah, cardboard.
You almost got shot over cardboard.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, I mean, I understand the appeal, all right? Collectors and all the stuff, and there's the really rare cards, but like you almost got shot.
Yeah.
Over a piece of cardboard.
By the way, Rest of Beatles. Now that I've got the chat in a place that it actually can update while we're talking about this, he said he owns a Harry Potter knockoff of Munchkin, but I don't think we own any other versions. Philip and I may have a couple of versions between us.
like 1 or 2 or 20.
Yeah. Anyone that's in gaming and may not be paying attention to these things may be seeing this kind of stuff and be like, what is going on with Pokemon? But especially someone that A, has been paying attention to Pokemon, and B, if you pay any attention to kind of the YouTube /influencer world, know that I don't know about the trading card thing. That's new, but apparently like actually, you know what? I think the trading card piece actually has to do, again, I know nothing about this, but I think it has to do with NFTs. And that some people are making NFTs based off of rare cards and thus making the actual card worth money too.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know about that.
Well, they're also one of the big things I saw was one of the little hottie cosplayers I follow. She put up on her Instagram story of she's like, yeah, I just rolled through.
Yes, you told us about the Pokemon thing. This is like the third time you've talked about the Pokemon cards at McDonald's.
Yeah, she rolled through the drive-thru like 8 times. Just to unbox them on her channel. So like that's where some of this stuff is going.
Yeah, so that's the thing is all these video creators between YouTube and Twitch and stuff, they have been driving up the demand for Pokemon cards. Like it started off like supply was getting low because of all the COVID and like the Suez Canal stuff and all of that. Everything that possibly has been going on with shipping had limited kind of Pokemon stock, so there was already that scarcity bit. And then a lot of influencers came in and like Logan Paul was, unboxing a first edition set of a booster box and got like a rare Charizard that he sold for like $100,000. So then everybody that wants to make a buck is like buying up anything Pokemon related. And then people are also now buying up the actual boxes and opening them up. And it's just created crazy because then the people that actually play the game, they're buying everything by the dozen so that they can get the stuff. So
I'm going to call my sister and we're just going to go home and like find our old collections.
Yeah, but what state are they in?
I wouldn't say mint. They're opened.
Yeah. You never know. Of course, it's like everything. It's like all of it's worth crap except for like 2 cards.
Yeah.
Although
everything is worth what somebody's willing to pay.
Yeah. I will try and remember to put it in, but there's one video that's just great, and it's a commentary video talking about it. There's a commentary video that talks about a lot of this stuff and the whole situation, talking about like Logan Paul bit and other stuff. But there was a YouTube channel, I think it was called like Bad Money or something like that. It's these like wannabe investors that take long shots off of stupid things and make money off of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so after Logan Paul opened up his, they got a box from the same dealer that he did, and we're going to open it up on a live stream, but the box was totally a fake. And like,
Whoa.
you can tell the guy selling it to him knew it was a fake.
Oh.
Yeah. We got a Mood Man in the chat says we need smarter people, and I think we already knew that. So, but yeah, I will try and post that. I got to find the link again. I posted it somewhere else. But I will try and find that in the show notes because it's a very hilarious video. But moving on, we have this next game you might say is more than meets the eye, and I just put the wrong one. There it is, Transformers.
Got him!
So you know there was going to be a Power Rangers deck building game, so of course now Renegade announces the Transformers deck building game. And then I don't like this article already because they're like, whoop, 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 giant robot alert. I don't like any of that.
No.
So
I stopped reading.
In this deck building game, you'll take on the role of one of the mighty Autobots, travel and explore the Matrix, and transform between your different modes as you gain allies, find relics, and acquire technology to do battle with the Decepticons. As your deck grows more powerful, Decepticons will rise up to challenge you. It can be
It's like Power Rangers.
Yeah. Then be competitively, or chances are it's the same system, just with a different skin on it. It's like the DC Comics game was like the same engine as the Street Fighter one that Cryptozoic just kept putting out different versions of. So yeah,
It's like Munchkin. You find a system that works. You
Yeah.
just keep slapping skins on it, man. Like,
But yeah, because you can hit different markets. Like, well, I don't really
Exactly.
care about Power Rangers, but I love Transformers. Neo versus Soundwave. I'm in. Explore the Matrix. I get it now. I was like, wait a minute, what? Rush the Beetle. And see, this is where I was like, hey, this is one because Rush the Beetle didn't like Power, or wasn't interested in Power Rangers. But so I knew this was in his range. He says, I love the Gen 1 Transformers, but I don't want another deck builder. I mean, that is true. I feel like this is probably like 4 years too late.
yeah, I can see that.
I mean, everybody. Then again, like there's always like different people getting into the hobby or whatever. But it does seem like we're kind of like overdoing the deck building game. Next up, I really don't have a joke for this because I think I've done all the Spiel des Jahres jokes I can do. So this one I'm just going to read as is. The Spiel des Jahres nominations are out for 2021. This is the German Game of the Year awards, and I know none of these games. So the Spiel is The Adventures of Robin Hood by Michael Menzel and Cosmos, Macro Micro Crime City by Johann Sick and Edition Spielweiss, and Zombie Teens Evolution by Anik Lobe, and I'm probably mispronouncing all this, and Le Scorpion Mask. So yeah, I've not heard of any of these games before. It's like usually there's at least one or maybe like I've heard of at least one or two, and maybe have like seen it or one of them, but like none of these I've heard of. Oh, but apparently Zombie Teens is at Moodman seen it at his store, so at least it's out. Because a lot of times the Spiel games, sometimes they may not even make it over here yet. I've seen some nominees. I think it was last year that the Crew won. That it was just then becoming available in the U.S. when it got nominated. So the nominations for the Kennerspiel des Jahres, which is like the more, I forget the way they say it's the more like
Enthusiast.
Enthusiast, thank you. The Enthusiast game of the year is Fantasy Realms by Bruce Glasso and WizKids, Lost Ruins of Arnak by Min Elwin and Czech Games Edition, and Paleo by Peter Rustemeyer and Hans im Glück. So I've at least heard of one of these. I've heard of Lost Ruins of Arnak. That's for certain. Fantasy Realms is kind of a generic name that could be a game I've heard of, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's... And paleo is that diet.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say, isn't paleo a diet? We've got... So, Hoser 40K knows a lot more about the Spiel stuff than I do, because he's already talking about Micro Macker's really great, and his family loves paleo. Of course, I'm not surprised that I don't know any of these games, because they did just spend like the past year pretty much not playing any board games.
Right?
So... And we didn't have conventions for me to look at stuff, so I guess this is not terribly surprising. But I can't even make predictions based on hype because I just don't know.
There's
Lost
no
Ruins
hype that we're aware of.
If I had to, Lost Ruins of Arnak, I'd put money on just because it's the only one of these I have heard a lot of hype about. So
Dragomino? Oh, that's our Kinderspiel.
Yeah, the kids' game of the year. All right, and this one is a doozy. So we got one more story here.
Nice.
Speaking
of conventions.
Yeah, speaking of conventions, it's everybody out. It's all time for big companies continue to bail on Gen Con Indy 2021. So a week prior to this article coming out, Paizo had announced that they are bailing on Gen Con in 2021. But now Asmodee USA, Asmodee North America Studios, and Ultra Pro are all out of Gen Con Indy 2021. So if you think about the convention space-wise, Paizo that's like a quarter of the exhibit hall gone, because Paizo usually has a big booth. Ultra Pro's got usually a decent-sized booth, and then all the Asmodee products. So
Fantasy Flight alone takes up so much floor space.
Asmodee has decided not to physically participate in Gen Con 2021, but we will be focusing our support on Gen Con Online to bring you some of the exciting news and events if we can get our stream to work. I'm just kidding. They didn't. We'll really miss gathering around tables with everyone this year, but we want to keep the health of our staff, partners, and customers top of mind. Gen Con Online ensures that we can continue to support an amazing community event and industry, and so we are excited to participate. Blah, 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 blah. So I will say that this is a very interesting thing, because if you look online, people have been going crazy about this, and there's been a bunch of different takes online, and this is going to slide into our banter some just because it's funny on some of it. Because on one hand, you've got, if you go to Facebook and some of Twitter replies, you just get nothing but I can't believe you're not doing this. You need to support local, blah, 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 and you don't support your community anymore. This and that. However, if you go to Reddit, and I got to find this one, I have to pull up because this one is pretty funny. If you go to the Board Gaming Reddit, it's great because dang it, I got to actually. I thought I could stall long enough to actually get the article up, and I can't, because Reddit is not wanting to load quickly.
We need to put a hold music button on the soundbar. Oh no, we'll do the elevator music of "What Is Love" from Night at the Roxbury.
I'll wait until the Asmodee convention of Asmodee Games in the Asmodee Brand Hotel in Asmodee City. Brought to you by Asmodee, the overlords you didn't know you wanted. Isn't that just Marvel or no Amazon?
Pretty much.
All right.
Somebody tell a joke. My love life. Oh, that was sad.
Anyways, so I'm gonna have to. I have to find it. Basically, Reddit went on a, like, what if Asmodee, because someone's like, up, make way because Asmodee's gonna buy Gen Con, and then they started making a bunch of Gen Con. What if Asmodee owned Gen Con jokes? My favorite one was Asmodee makes the Indy International or the Indy Airport boycott Spirit Airlines because they keep advertising flights below minimum advertised price.
Ah. Oh man, let's see if Asmodee took over Gen Con. So the airport would have to be turned into a spaceport. And that's where like all the Fantasy Flight stuff would go.
Here we go. I just did a search on Google and managed to find it faster than going through Reddit. Yeah, it's the article on Reddit has like 402 posts. Here it goes. Here
Google
it goes.
was listening
I
to you.
gotta pull it up. So yeah, tomorrow's update: Asmodee acquires Gen Con 2021, permanently closing the events. In board gaming news, Asmodee North America has acquired the city of Indianapolis. Then someone's like, great, our giant potholes will never be filled now. And then someone says, as of February 18th, 2020, if a road is damaged or missing parts, please return it to the company that originally paved the road. And then it's like, here you go. We told all the local airports to blackball Spirit Airlines for advertising tickets to Indianapolis at below minimum advertised price. Gen Con pass holders need to go to their FLGS to obtain a refund. Any FLGS that doesn't give a refund to a customer will be permanently blacklisted by Asmodee. These are all just like the fake stuff, but it's just that's great. I will post that in chat so that they can join along with that. But yeah, so there's a couple of things I want to say about this. First of all, I'm not really surprised, because there was a couple of things I was thinking about, and then even as I was talking about it, there was a couple more things that got made apparent. So of course people hate it, but here's the bottom line to this, is that cons are expensive for companies to go to, and they need to make that money off of people being at the convention. And with half the people not being at Gen Con, that's half the potential sales. And granted, it's probably going to be a lot of, even with everything going on, it's probably still going to be a lot of effort to get stuff out there in time, because we mentioned last time, or it may have been in the, I think it was in the bonus bits, talking about there are 3 cons, like basically week to week to week.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So either you don't go to some, you don't go to any, or you only pick like one or so to go to because you physically can't support multiple of them. So there's that. There's also the fact that even if they forced all their employees to go work these booths, a booth for Asmodee requires heavily their I'm going to use the word volunteer just so that you know that I'm not talking about employees employed by the company, but they pay for their staff. But I'm just using the word volunteer to mean like outside people.
Oh, like what I did for Gale Force.
Yeah. But they like actually pay like, $10 and $10 an hour towards their stuff.
Oh, yeah, I got paid.
So, but it's technically you're contractors, but if I say contractors, you might think of like other people.
Yeah.
So like Moonman's in the chat talking about should be, if you're fully vaccinated, you should be safe. That is true, but if people are still uncomfortable going to cons, then if they can't get the staff to support the stuff, it goes back to the, is it worth the money? And then somebody brought up 2 additional points to me. With all the shipping stuff that's going on, they may not have the stock to support a convention.
That's one of the big issues. Yep.
Yeah, so it's like, if you're not even gonna, like, if it's gonna cost you all this money to do all of that, and you're not even going to have the stock to sell to make up what money you can there, then that's another like let's just peace out. And secondly, while we've managed to get a good, or we're getting there on like vaccines and stuff here in the States, it's not like that everywhere else. In fact, it's a lot worse once you go outside the U.S. and the U.K. In fact, I have friends up in like Canada that are having trouble getting their like first or second vaccine shot. So that's another thing and Asmodee is an international company, so you may have people flying in to support products going in. So it's it comes down to a lot of things, and that's why Moon Man's again saying like true, but showing off products to con-goers is a very valuable sales tool. Sure, but it's all I would 100% bet this is a numbers based thing, that they're like, I don't think we're gonna make the money. Like, I understand for a smaller company that makes a lot more sense, but Asmodee's to the point that they can make almost as much just supporting the online Gen Con stuff, showing off the stuff and the in-flight and that kind of thing. And another thing, they're just they can make enough money without the time, effort, and stress of having in money that it would take to go in there. So I'm not surprised at all by them bailing out, especially a company as huge as them. And what I also found funny is all the people that were making a bunch of fits about this are the same kinds of people that also cry about like FFG and everybody just always in buying their products, and people need to support smaller indie creators and that sort of thing. And I'm like, here's their chance. Like, there's a big huge hole now in the demo area, or the I am having a brain fart. Exhibit hall.
In the exhibit hall, yeah. There's now yeah. Remember 2019? Yeah, so 2019, how big the Fantasy Flight booth was?
Yeah.
There you go. Call up your FLGSs and take over that space, guys.
Yeah. So yeah, that's another thing. Also got asked what do I think about Van Richten's Guide in Ravenloft. I have not read it yet. I have it, but I've been trying to get caught up on things. I'm currently reading the Candlekeep Adventures, which was the book that came out, I think it was back in like February, March. But I'm trying to blaze through that so I can get to Van Richten's Guide. And are we on BGG? Yes, we are. And I think if you search Chris the Professor, I think is on there. And I have most of my stuff. They asked it, do I have a collection listed? Yeah. But getting into actual other stuff, more important stuff, I got so much board game stuff to talk about here that I think the rest of the show just might be like bantering about different game stuff. So I'm going to hand it off to Philip first. And is there any gaming stuff that you want to talk about? You've been up to?
No, haven't been doing much. Just the normal stuff.
Just the Destiny 2?
Just the Destiny, yep. I mean, the new season dropped. That's about it.
What does that mean when there's a new season that drops?
So think of it as mini expansions, if that works for you.
Okay.
So now there's every 90 days they've been doing new basically new stuff. They're adding lore to the game. They brought back something from Destiny 1 this season. It's called Vault of Glass. It's a raid that like everyone, and so in WoW, there's the big achievement for a guild that like slams through something first.
Yeah. Like the world first stuff.
Yeah, world first. Well, they have that in Destiny as well. This raid that they brought back from Destiny 1, they did for 24 hours. It was like, all right, first 6-man team that slams through it and does everything correctly, you get fancy achievements and banners you can apply to your character and all that kind of crap. something I thought was interesting. They put a caveat on it because apparently there was in Destiny 1 in this raid, there was a way to just push the boss off the ledge and not even actually kill him, just, push him off the ledge. And they went, yeah, we're going to be tracking that this time. And if you do it, we're disqualifying you.
I tried to do that though. So I continued playing some Star Wars the other day because I was like, I've got some rested XP, and there was one of those things where I was fighting some people on like a landing pad, and I have like this like unleash thing that just does like a huge force pushback in a wave, and I totally tried to use that to like knock some guys off the ledge, but I got them like real close, but they didn't.
Yes, we have to be careful. All three of us, me, Chris, and Mike, have to be careful if we're ever like in our menu, because our character just stands there with his hand out, like looking at a display, and you can push him. So, like, all of a sudden, I'm sitting there, and I think Chris did it first, and now we all just kind of do it to each other. I'm just standing there, like rearranging all my armor and everything, and then, boop. I'm dead. I'm like, how the hell did I die? We're in a safe zone. Like, we're legit in a safe zone. Yep. Nope. It's because he pushed me off an edge.
I don't act like you've never done it to anybody else.
Oh, no. Yeah. Like, as soon as we're like, oh, you could put, yeah. So now I'll just, we're smarter. We stay away from edges in safe zones on planets. But now I'll just, if you need to, like, access a console, you access it. And then I can push you away, but you'll stay in the menu.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's just annoying when you back out. And you're like, all right, oh, I backed out too far. Damn it, now I'm like 100 feet away. I got to run back over there.
Yeah, I was wondering because, like, when you say seasons, sometimes it means different things. Like, I'm used to when people say seasons, I'm thinking like Diablo 3 still has like seasons for their stuff, and World of Warcraft for like some of the PvP, and it usually just means like a new set of armor and rewards, like, oh, you can't get this armor anymore, now you get this armor.
That's kinda. There's
usually not in those games there's not a content reason behind it.
Oh, okay.
This just say, hey, here's a new armor set that you can buy. Also, we wipe, like, if there's, like, leaderboards, sometimes they'll wipe and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is all story and, like, the seasons, and each week they unlock new stuff. Like, new, and, yeah, it's a good time. I'm digging it.
Nice. So, oh, my gosh, I'm so excited. So...
Yeah, I'm reading through this list here. There's a lot of stuff, man.
I decided... For my birthday, I finally wanted to get some sort of kind of gaming table. And I decided, I was looking through all the things and thinking about like my potential budget between like getting money from birthdays and savings and stuff like that. And so I decided like, okay, I'm going to finally get a game topper. You've seen you may have even played on a game topper because they have them at like the Gen Con and stuff.
Yeah,
a lot of the companies will have them. But
yep.
So the game, for those that don't know, the game topper, it's an aluminum top that has like 3M popper or 3M foam on the bottom, basically, that keeps it in place, and the weight of it keeps in place so it doesn't move around. And so I was like, at the same time that there was a Kickstarter going on right now for their third wave of stuff. And so I backed at like the $25 level. I'm like, oh, once I get the money in, then I can actually figure out what I'm going to get, et cetera, et cetera. Problem is that those aren't delivering until November. And I was in a moment of normal patience for me, whereas I'm normally an impatient person. I was kind of okay with that because the prices were cheaper. They had some on their website that you could get like ASAP, but they're like $100 more expensive than what you get through the Kickstarter. And there's a lot of special prices and stuff that's on the Kickstarter. Plus, I didn't know exactly what I was going to be getting and all that sort of stuff. But I Ashley kept bringing it up like, oh man, I can't believe you're waiting until November. And then I finally was just like, I was like, okay, what are you telling me here? And she's like, Well, I mean, I know you didn't really get to play games like all of last year and how much all this means to you. And you haven't really been, we're getting back to where you can play games. And I want you to be able to like have like a nice table and stuff for playing games this summer and all of that. And so she let me, basically I took an advance on my birthday money
Okay.
to where I was able to take money we had in savings, and I bought a game topper off of their website. So I did pay a little bit more, but I get it now. In fact, I get it on Wednesday.
Are you sure?
It's coming UPS, so I'm a lot more sure than I could be, like if it was coming FedEx.
Okay.
If it was coming FedEx, I might get it 3 years from now. But it's coming UPS, so I have a little bit more realism to that date. But yes, I could have it on Wednesday. So it's entirely possible that this podcast may come out after I get the table. I'm going to try not to, because once that table comes in, I probably am not going to edit the show.
They couldn't ship it Amazon? It's already in your house.
Yeah. Hey, I ordered it on Friday. So for them to I ordered it I think I ordered it Thursday night, and it had already shipped on Friday. So for it to then, less than a week later be in my house, it's going to be ridiculous. And I got the I think it's called the Watson. It's
Okay.
The playable space it's like 38 by 60. So it's not like the hugest one, and it's not the smallest one. It's kind of like their best seller. This will fit most board games kind of thing. So then I got to figure out what table to put it on, because I have a couple of different options to put it on. But so I'm excited. I'm excited for all that. And I'll have to do some video content once it comes in, because Rusted Beetle's talking to the chat room that I'm assuming he has a topper, because he's talking about the shipping box was enormous. Oh, that's right. He did, because he told me he even packaged his down. He has one and had like the accessory rail. So they come, like, if you get them beyond the 3x3, they come split in two, and you like screw them together. But you can buy an accessory rail that you can unscrew it and put this rail on, and now you have like a 3x3, so you can have like a smaller table. And so, because I remember he telling me that when he went, I think he was going to Adepticon and was packaging up his the smaller version of his topper to take up there with him to play. Like, oh, we're gonna play games in the lobby of the hotel. Bam, game table. Philip, you there?
I'm here. I'm listening.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was hearing no comments on there. So let's see. Just talking about it's still Christmas season in Heroes of the Storm. I think I have some Heroes of the Storm talk, but I may save that for bonus stuff. But Kemet Blood and Sand shows up tomorrow for, say, Jameis McNerney is in there. McNerney. Kemet's one of those games that I've always been curious to play, but I've never actually tried, because a lot of people, it's the style. I know the games have nothing in common, but I know it got compared a lot to Blood Rage when it came out, because it's that kind of style of area control with a lot of minis based kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there was there was a lot of buzz about it, and the artwork definitely looks like a lot better with the Blood and Sand version. We do not have a Discord. We do have a Slack. It is boardsandswords.com/Slack should get you in there. I technically do have a Discord, but I don't really use it. And this Dudes on a Map is another way that people are talking about. And so, and Rusted Beetle talks about that he did take the half topper to Adepticon. So, I'm trying to think of what else. Actually, I have an actual review, and it's and Philip, it's actually a review that you have played as well.
Sweet.
So, do you remember one of the days that one of the few times that you did come over the past year, we played, or it may have even been pre-pandemic. It's entirely possible it's pre-pandemic. But that day you came over and played a bunch of like tiny games.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Pepperidge Farm remembers. But one of the games we played was we had Dungeon Mayhem, and this is made by it's a D&D branded game. It's actually made by Wizards of the Coast. I don't see a. It's D&D branded. I don't know who. I have the thing up here, but so I have the Monster Madness box, which comes with a lot of different things, and they also gave me the Baldur's Gate kind of expansion that had there. But you can even get the basic form of this is one of those simple size card decks. Like imagine like a double card deck size box, like an Uno size box almost.
Mm-hmm.
That you can see it like hanging up on a peg at a lot of like Walmart, Target kind of thing. Or
not anymore. People keep acting stupid.
Well, they still have games. They just don't have the TCGs. So this is a very so me and you played this, and the way the gameplay is pretty simple. It's just there's a bunch of different characters, and everybody takes a deck, and you basically draw a card, play a card, and the cards basically tell you what to do. Some of the cards say attack, some of them say like, can defend against attacks, and some of them will like let you draw extra cards, let you play extra cards, etc., and you're trying to basically pummel each other until one person gets to 0. Is this making sense to you now? Do you remember this?
Yeah, I remember playing it.
Okay. Yeah, I got some of the cards up here on the screen now. But so you could see. And when we played, it was really simple. And it was because it was kind of like, I hit you, you hit me, I hit you, you hit me. But, very random. And it was kind of like I'm not really feeling this. But at the same time, I wanted to wait until I had played it with more people because I could kind of tell, that people. Okay, and Rusty Beetle checked me that WotC did. Wizards of the Coast did make Dungeon Mayhem. So we had a game day. It was me, Corey, Jimmy, Mike, and Heather all played, and we were trying to figure out what to do, and we weren't thinking about playing. We weren't really feeling like playing anything big. I was like, well, I got a bunch of smaller stuff I brought. So I pulled out Dungeon Mayhem, and we played it. First of all, they all loved like the name of the characters because like I said, I don't have the heroes version. I have the one that's got like mostly monsters and stuff. But like you've got Mimi Lachaise, who is a mimic, and then you've got the beholder that's called Delilah Deathray. You've got Blorp, which is a gelatinous cube. You've got a very British-looking proper dragon called Lord Cinderpuff. Guess which one Mike played?
Lord Cinderpuff.
And then, of course, Heather had to play Hoots McGoots, who is an owlbear.
An owlbear.
Yep. You got a mind flayer, Dr. Tentaculus. And then Corey apparently had played a lot of Baldur's Gate, so when I said Minsk and Boo, she was all over that one as well.
Yeah.
But if you do have the other box one, the Monsters Mayhem or Monsters Madness box here has little dividers and everything for them. So it's definitely a cool little storage thing. It's a very simple and very cheap. Like, does this have the MSRP price on it? I'll have to look that up in a second. But yeah, it says like a 15-minute playtime. I think we were playing 5 people. It was like 20, 25. But this is a game, I will say, if you do not like luck-based games, you will not like this game at all. Because it is very, very, very dependent on just kind of whatever you draw, you get to play kind of thing. And it's one of those games that's just kind of fun to play. I was thinking about it and talking with the group. This is a perfect game to play when you're waiting for people to show up on D&D night. The game is the best part. The best part of the game is the fact that all the cards are very themed. So, like since I had the mimic, like my cards were like totally not a trap, definitely not a trap. And then there was like the one guarding card that was like not a mimic, and then in parentheses it's like, no, seriously, not a mimic. And it was like a picture of like a statue. But it's got that like Munchkin style, like cheeky humor.
Right.
And the artwork's really cool. The only downside the biggest downside is that like a lot of the tokens, because it's going for a very cheap price point, like it's got these really like the thinnest of thin cardboard. Like the thinnest cardboard. And I hate that. Like I almost want to I have a stack of like Fantasy Flight tokens that are like plastic tokens that I'm almost tempted to just put in here. Now that I know like some of the people really like the game, I may just throw those in here to use for the future. Because you use them for marking like if a card's taken damage or your health on a health tracker kind of thing.
Yep.
But it's really cheap. It's a really light game. And if you know anything about Dungeons and Dragons, it's definitely marketed towards that crowd. Where it's just like, haha, look at all these kind of references to stuff. And so, like I said, at 5 players, it's very swingy and a little bit longer. I think if you had this at 3 or 4, it would be super fast, probably like definitely 10, 15 minutes. But it was really funny because like I was in last place the entire game and I ended up being second because I just had a bunch of cards that let me swap people's health around. And so I had a chance where I could have extended the game out further because Jimmy had like full health at 10 and I drew a card that was like make 2 people's health the same. So I was at like 2 health and he was at 10. So I could have played it and made my health the same as Jimmy's. And so I was at 10 too. But instead, I decided to do the reverse and put Jimmy's health at 2. And then it became Heather's turn, and she managed to do a whole bunch of damage that just killed both Jimmy and Mike on the same turn. So again, it's very random and chaotic. But if you're into that kind of little chaotic fun, then it's definitely a pretty good one. And I would say you definitely want to get the monster. I'm saying definitely a lot. I need to stop that. Just looking at the kinds of characters that come in, if you had to make a choice and only buy one of them, I would buy this Monster Madness box because I like the design and the names of the characters more than what they have. Like the original Dungeon Mayhem box is all like the heroes. So there's like an elf and like a tiefling and like a dwarf or an orc, and like a human kind of thing. But I like the monsters aspect most, like the mimic and the gelatinous cube, all that stuff. And the box itself just is nice, the way that it's sorted and everything. So, I've determined whether by this you could pretty much tell if it's something you're interested in. If you're a D&D fan and want something simple to kind of play beforehand, you're probably going to like this. If everything that I said hated you, then you definitely don't want to play this game. So there's that. And then the other game we played that night is... So you heard me talking about The Crew. Let me pull up. So The Crew, A Quest for Planet 9. Actually, I'm going to throw this back up here. And this is a game that got a lot of buzz. I think it was last year. I think it may have even gotten the Spiel last year. And it's The Crew, Quest for Planet 9. It is by Cosmos, and it is a cooperative trick-taking game. And as soon as I said that, Mike was like, how does that work? Because if you think about it, just to explain, like a trick-taking game is if you've ever played like Hearts and Spades, where everybody plays a card, aka a trick, and you're wanting to win said trick, therefore taking the trick-taking. So it's like, how do you do that and it be a cooperative game where you want everybody to win, but you want certain people to win the tricks or whatever? So when I started explaining it, it was kind of like, what? How does that work? But if you think the game does look like a lot of trick-taking games, there's 40 cards, so there's 5 different suits. There's 4 normal colored suits that you can see. If I flip it back here, you can see the colors of the suits. Some of them you got like green, yellow, blue and red, or kind of like a purple or pink, I mean. And they all have like a little symbol underneath so that you can still recognize them even if you're colorblind. And then you've got these rocket ships that are your trump cards. And you know that the basic gameplay is the same way, where it's like the person who one person will start and they'll play a card. Everybody has to play on suit unless you can't, and then like you win unless you play a trump card. You know, like you've played trick taking games before, right?
Yes.
Okay. So where the cooperative piece comes in is there's a book of like 50 different missions, and each mission it starts off really easy with just one. Each mission you get these like task cards, which if you look on here, I don't know if they're shown in this picture, but they're these smaller versions of the cards. And what it does is they'll have like a specific amount of tasks that get dealt out. So this deck gets shuffled up and dealt in the middle of the table. And then depending on how many there are, you go around and everyone has to grab one of these cards. And the way it works is for the game to be successful, everyone with a task card has to win the trick that has that card in it. So if there's like 3 of us playing and say there's like 4 task cards, like if it's one of the harder ones, say maybe like you've got the 4 of blue and I've got like the 3 of green and also maybe like the 6 of pink and stuff like that. If I don't get win the trick that has the 6 of the pink 6 in it, we all lose.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's the thing and here's the other thing is you can't say what you have in your hand. The only communication that's allowed is everybody gets one communication token, and you can play a card and there's you can use the token to talk about what you have in your hand. Like if you put the token at the top of the card, it means that number's the highest one in that suit that you have. If it's at the bottom, it's the lowest number you have in that suit. And if it's in the middle, it's the only card of that suit you have. So if you look and see like, oh, that person needs to get a low number pink, someone may say, oh, well, they may put like a 9 pink down and say like, this is the only pink I have is a 9 of pink. So it's like, oh, nobody play pink until he gets rid of that one pink card because he's automatically going to take the pink card, in which case, you know, then we won't get the card kind of thing. Did that make sense at all?
100%. Yep.
Okay. So it took a while and it took a couple of plays to kind of get that point across. That's why I was asking if it made sense, because people were definitely and most of the people there had played trick-taking games before, but it was kind of like that, wait, what? Like, how do what? Because it is kind of like a very, taking the genre and flipping it on its head a little bit and trying to pull, like, not trying to win every suit, but like, I got to think smartly on how I'm playing my cards so that somebody else can win a specific suit kind of thing. But it's definitely, if you like co-op games and you like trick-taking games, then you're going to like this. If you definitely aren't very competitive, but you did like trick-taking games in the past, I think you're going to like it too. We only played like a handful of rounds, so I don't know how like some of the other games add in like extra challenges and stuff, and you don't have to play them in order. We just kind of skipped around. But it definitely, by the end of the night, it's a little bit of a brain burn only because of how different it is, but the gameplay itself is pretty simple. But just because you got to think like, because almost it was funny, like every time somebody played a card, I was like looking around the table like, wait, is this the card that needs to be played? Like trying to think, like make sure that I'm not accidentally playing over top of things. And we definitely lost more than we won. I think we played a total of 3 or 4 times and only won like once.
Okay.
But apparently it's got two-player variant, so that's even rare to see as a trick-taking game with 2 players. So especially nowadays, like coming out of the pandemic, and it's a nice little small game. I picked this up at the store. They had extras that they were selling off, so it was like $10. I think normal price is like $15, and it's a very small box game. You could even probably make this into a smaller box. This is definitely it's definitely a game for gamers. I don't know if I would play this with non-gamers, like people that may be used to like hearts and spades. I don't know if I'd necessarily play it with them, because it may be hard to break those ingrained thinkings when it comes to trick-taking games. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when it comes to gamers, I would definitely it's small enough, I would almost put this in my bag every time, just because it's quick and easy and simple. You don't have to play a whole lot of rounds. It's basically just you're playing out the each sets of rounds is a different mission. So you could just play one mission and then either play something else or play something easier or harder. Yeah, a lot of game in a small box.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was the crew, the quest for Planet 9. So it was one of those. After I saw it, I posted it. That it was definitely. I don't know if it's. Like I said, I haven't played it enough to give it like a huge rating on it, but I definitely see why it got so much buzz last year. And talking about it. Apparently there's an expansion / standalone version of this coming out. Hoser talked about it here and it reminded me of it, that there's a new version coming out, like exploring the ocean like a submarine kind of crew. All I know is this, when when it came out in Germany, it was called Die Crew, because that's the crew.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very sad because I was really hoping it was involving dice.
Yes, D Crew.
D Crew. Oh, that's true. I'm right here on the page. I could probably find the extra re-implemented by the crew. Mission something. Yeah, Mission Deep Sea. There you go. So it's a new version of the game that's got like a deep sea adventure kind of thing. So while I catch my breath, Philip, why don't you talk about Patreon?
Patreon. That's where you can find a lot of the extra stuff Chris and I do. So we have some stuff we talk about before and after the show. Call it the bonus bits, and you can find that in the it's Patreon exclusive. So if you like hearing what Chris and I talk about when we're not acting civil toward each other on the podcast, you can listen to that. We got a couple tiers. What else are we hiding in there? At some point,
we still got to redo some things, but yeah, there's the RPG. There's
the RPG that at some point we will record with the people. That's one of the tiers that people are paying for by the month.
Yep. We're technically below that tier right now, but we still do owe an expansion or a session of that coming out. But like I said, I got to redo, or I've said before, I'm redoing the rules system for it. In case you don't know, that's for the Tangled in the Slipstream, where we basically play a game of Firefly, but with cats, set in with the D&D 5th edition rule set.
Yes. And we're not asking for a lot, are we, Chris? We're asking for like $1.
Yeah, that's it.
Help us make this a better podcast.
Yep.
And get some rewards along the way.
If nothing else, if you just want to pay $1 so that you get the extra bonus stuff, I have the most fun just recording that and putting that out for people. Yeah.
And it's what is that? Patreon.com/boardsandswords?
Yes, sir.
Or boardsandswords.com/Patreon?
No, I haven't done that yet. I had to rework some of the website stuff, so I just now started being able to do those slashes. Gotcha. That's a good point. I should make that a thing. So maybe by the time
at some point in the future,
at some point in the future,
/Patreon.
Yeah, there you go.
Will be a thing. And it'll redirect you to patreon.com/boardsandswords.
So we talked about this a little bit, but I had sent out a message in Slack. I'd sent out a message in the Facebook group asking for kind of comments or questions, because we like to talk about some of those here at the end of the show. And I want to eventually get around to get some like party game style things, kind of like what we used to do with Super Fight back in the OCD days.
Super Fight.
Stuff like that we could play. That it's technically a game show type thing that we could play just the two of us. But in the meantime, we've got comments and listener feedback type stuff that we like to read off. And so I had asked if people had any comments or questions, and Beto had actually posted a good one that we've already kind of hinted to, but it's another good discussion point that's kind of, as people are starting to get back together, most of the people who got vaccinated will let you know whether you ask or not. What if people wanted to come that may not be vaccinated? At some point, most of us will want to get back into social gaming and will likely encounter those who choose to forego. How do we work with them? Is it one thing to not invite people over to your house that didn't vaccine, but what about the next convention? So I will say, because I know we may have differing opinions on here, as like I'm vaccinated, but Philip is not, right?
Correct.
Okay. I didn't know with that lottery announcement if it had changed anything.
Nope.
So, personally, first of all, when it comes to outside my house, I got no control over that. So there's that, other people setting their rules for what governs in their house, we have to be, or when I say we, I'm talking about me and my household, we have decided as a family to be a little bit more stricter just because of the people that we regularly interact with. First of all, there's Ashley, who doesn't have the strongest immune system. So even, because the vaccine doesn't make you immune, it just makes it harder. So if any of us were to get it, even though we were vaccinated, it would be her. So, and not only that, there's also her parents, again, also vaccinated, but older, to where if they got it, it probably wouldn't be that great. So we've decided, like, even with mask restrictions not being a thing, like, we're still masking up when we go out in public to like stores and stuff. Like, if I go to a game night at a store, whether or not the store requires masks, I'm probably still going to wear a mask just for that sake, kind of thing. When it comes to my house, though, I am requiring people be vaccinated just because of, like I said, with like Ashley and her parents. And also the stronger reason being is that in mid-June, I want to go down and see my family, who they have even worse health issues than I do, because they're on like stuff that suppresses their immune system. So even with all that, like, they had to take, like, I know like my brother had to get an antibody test done even after he got the vaccine, just because since he didn't really have a reaction, and since he's on things that suppress, he had to make sure that it took, basically. Mm-hmm. And so given that, like, that's the reason I didn't see them at all last year, because I didn't want to be like, sure, there's small possibilities, but I didn't want it to be my fault if something happened, So that's the other reason why we're being a lot stricter, is I want to be able to go see them in June. So I'm trying to keep things pretty tight. There's some people talking about this. Jameis is talking about trim my game night, the list to include a much smaller group and require visual confirmation of vaccination. I'm not going that far. I'm not requiring a visual confirmation. I am taking people at their word, but it's people that I already have like associated with. It's not just like random people. So like it's like just my close friends, that sort of thing. But Philip, what's your thoughts on all this?
Well, I normally stay in the house anyway.
But then again, you are going out to, you've been the past couple months, like, you've been going to like out to eat in public and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean the Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like the Tuesday after they were like, yeah, restaurants can go up to 50%. Boom, I was out.
Yeah.
And I haven't missed I've missed a couple of Tuesdays, but like I haven't missed a Tuesday at dinner with my dad.
Right. But like, as somebody that is, so I'll phrase it this way: as somebody that isn't vaccinated, how would you feel if someone's like, I'm sorry, I'm not comfortable inviting you to the house because you're not?
I'll just go back to bed.
Okay. All right.
You gave me the reason. I don't have to put pants on.
Sweet. So you're saying I just get to go home and go to sleep instead of actually having to go out and do stuff?
Right? I mean, and that's I mean, so I'm now we can talk about it later. It'll be part of the bonus bits. You got to pay to access it.
Yeah, Philip's definitely like, there's people that are introverts and there are people that are extroverts, but there's also like the people in between. Like my wife is an extroverted introvert in that she does well with like socializing with people and stuff. Philip's kind of the same way. Like he could be very extroverted, but at heart he just wants to be home without pants on.
Most days I just want to go and lay down and chill. And because like I have a public facing job, so it's like I have to interact with people, and then it's like, all right, you just interacted with people for 9 hours. We need you to do that for 4 more. I'm like, guys, no, I just like, I love you. I would take a bullet for all of you, but I'm gonna need to do that tomorrow.
I'm gonna need you to come in on Saturday.
Right.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, there's a whole nother piece of this that there are a lot of people that, because you can only get the vaccine if I think now that they've got it as it's approved or it's available for people like 10 to 12 and up.
I think 12 and up.
I think 12 and up. I think 12 is the lowest. So like, there becomes a whole nother issue where if you've got kids that are younger than that, then it becomes like a whole different, ball game there. I fortunately happen to live in a household where everyone's old enough to get the vaccine. So yeah, when it comes down to it, it's just one of those, like, it's going to slowly, until we drop numbers and things become more normalized. List out do whatever you're comfortable with and just respect everybody else for their comfort level. Everybody's going to have their different levels, and that's all it really needs is, like, if a store, just because your state says that a store can't or doesn't have to require a mask, if a store says, hey, we want you to have masks on, just do it. Or
even if everything goes back to pre-COVID, still keep your ass 6 feet away from me in the grocery store, okay? Get off me, all right?
Yeah, there are some things that I hope stay through, the pandemic. Like I was talking,
back the hell up. That's all I'm saying.
There's something that I was talking with somebody and, like, you know what? When it comes to conventions next year and walking around the exhibit hall, I might be masked up even if COVID's not a thing.
I'm gonna wear one of those big hula hoops.
One of those, because there's like
personal space,
like the hula hoops that have like the straps on them, so you wear it and it like the strings hold it out.
Yeah. Keeps people 6 feet away from you.
Yeah, like, because I mean, like, some people are talking about, like, look, we didn't really have like much of a flu season at all this year because people were wearing masks.
Everyone kept their asses at home.
Yeah,
and like they wear masks and stuff.
Yeah, so like, I get affected by con crud all the time, or at least just lose my voice and such. So yeah, when it comes to next year and a con, I may entirely, except for like when I'm interviewing people, I may wear a mask through there because there's a bunch of nasty people at some of the conventions.
I mean, there were nasty people when there wasn't anything happening.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not even talking about in a COVID time. I'm talking like normal.
People wouldn't follow 3, 2, 1, man.
Yeah. But that's it. Just everybody just state your comfort level and respect people for whatever their comfort level is. That's all it comes down to. That's a great place to end the show, right?
That has been our show, everybody. If you like this show, you're gonna love checking out boardsandswords.com/live. That's got the schedule for when we kind of stick to it most of the time when we record. It's got also all the links of our live streaming channels. You also want to check out boardsandswords.com to check out the other things that we do. Dirtbags of Holding podcast is still up there. Even though it hasn't been updated in a while, you can still check out the shenanigans we used to get into.
I had thoughts about that, and I may talk about that in the bonus bit. But yeah, in the meantime, you should check out all the good stuff that we do over at boardsandswords.com. I just posted an article talking about Tasha's Guy or Cauldron of Everything, and you have a chance to win the special edition version if you go check out that. In the meantime, you can find us and email us comments and questions, feedback at boardsandswords.com. We have our contest still going, eldritchfoundry.com. I talked with them. They've got me like 2 codes to give away and like 5 of the STL file codes. So I need people to go make an account, make a mini, send me a screenshot of your mini. If you need more details, check out last week's episode, or 172. But feedback at boardsandswords.com, facebook.com/boardsandswordspod, or Boards and Swords on Twitter, at Boards and Swords Chris on Instagram, etc., etc.
This podcast is also a part of Punchboard
Well, no,
Media.
you say I'm waiting for your Twitter.
What? There's nothing on my Twitter.
All right, fine. This podcast is also a part of Punchboard Media, for other great gaming podcasts. Check out punchboardmedia.com. And thank you for listening. Once again, check out patreon.com/boardsandswords to help support the show. 2 weeks, we'll be back with another show, if Philip's awake. In the meantime, remember that every gamer has a story, and when I do contests, I really should put end dates. I always forget to do that. We'll draw people next episode for the Eldritch Founder one. Hey, look at that.
Nice.
Also, Jameis, I saw that he said that I may have met him at an Origins, because I meet a bunch of different people. If you remember anything about what we talked about, that'll help, because I can help put like a memory to a name. Because I may not remember a name, but if you tell me about something that you talked about, I might remember that.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say you talked about tabletop gaming.
Well, sure, but like there's some people tell me about, like I find out like there's a person I've met a couple of times at a couple of different cons, and I don't remember their name, but they were telling me about a store that they were opening up in their area. And they were asking me stuff about what I looked for and what kinds of things did I like and not like in a convention. That's what I'm talking about, like things that I remember. Like, you know, there's the people I met in front of me at the line, at the CMON Expo line, you know, that they happen to turn around and go, "Hey, I watch your show," you know, things like that. Oh, okay. He said, I just complimented you and said I appreciated your work and moved on. All right. Fair enough. So,
all right, that's our show, everybody. Next week, hot tub stream.
We'll make like a $300 a month Patreon level, and it's Chris and Philip do a hot tub stream.
There we go. They make indoor inflatable hot tubs.
Yeah. Actually, Ashley wants to get a hot tub.
There you go.
Well, because it would be helpful for her. It just seems like a lot of responsibility.
And then it'd be helpful for us, too.
Yeah.